I once watched 3 admins answer the same outage question 3 different ways. Which servers rebooted, what version were they on, and how much disk was left. One had a saved command in Notepad. One clicked through Server Manager. One pasted an old script from a ticket, changed 2 names, and missed a failed machine because the script printed text instead of objects. The meeting did not need heroics. It needed a small, named tool that everyone could run the same way every time. The naive way works until the 3rd server, the 2nd admin, the 1st audit request. Loose scripts usually have computer names hard-coded, paths buried in the middle, and output formatted for eyeballs instead of automation. That means you cannot pipe it to where object, export CSV, or sort object without parsing your own words. Errors are worse. If one computer is offline, the script may dump red text and keep going, or stop halfway, and nobody knows which result is trustworthy. At fleet scale, repeatability matters more than clever one-liners. A PowerShell function is a named block of code with its own parameters. Think of it as the point where a useful command graduates into a tool. Use approved Verb-Noun names, like Get-ComputerAudit or Test Profile Path, because your future self and your teammates already understand that pattern from Get Service and Get Process. My opinion, functions should output objects by default, not formatted tables, not right host banners. Let the caller decide how to display, filter, sort, export, or pipe the results. That one habit is what makes your tool feel like PowerShell instead of a batch file wearing a blue shirt. Start with function, then a verb-noun name, then braces. Inside, put a param block near the top. For admin tools, I usually add CmdletBinding. That gives you common parameters like verbose and ErrorAction, and it nudges you toward real cmdlet behavior. Validate inputs where it helps, then loop through targets with foreach. For commands that may fail, use ErrorAction stop inside try, and handle the failure in catch with write error. For output, create a custom object with PS custom object and named properties. Do not end the function with format table. Formatting is for the console edge, not the tool core. Here is a realistic help desk escalation. Security asks after a patch window which machines are online, what operating system they report, when they last booted, and how much free space is on C. We write Get-ComputerAudit with a ComputerName parameter defaulting to the local computer. For each name, it calls Get-CimInstance with Win32 operating system, then Win32 logical disk, filtered to DeviceID equals C:. If both calls work, it outputs one object with ComputerName, OS, last boot, and FreeGB. If a host fails, catch writes an error tied to that host. Later, the same output can go to export CSV or feed a dashboard. A few bruises are normal. First, the return keyword is not how you display data in PowerShell. It exits scope and sends whatever follows to the pipeline. Most of the time, just place the object on its own line. Second, write host is fine for a status banner, but it is not reusable data. Third, Windows PowerShell 5.1 loads profiles from a Windows PowerShell folder under Documents, while PowerShell 7 uses a PowerShell folder. Check $profile before editing. Finally, Get-CimInstance against remote machines depends on firewall rules, name resolution, permissions, and Windows Remote Management or Distributed Component Object Model behavior depending on how you connect. This episode ties the foundations tier together. Parameters give your script a clean interface. Error handling makes the result explain its own failures. Object output keeps the pipeline alive, so your function can feed where object, select object, export CSV, group object, and later scheduled jobs. Loading the function from your profile or a .source library turns yesterday's script into today's toolbelt. This is also the bridge to the next skills: Active Directory queries, group policy object reporting, event log collection, access control list audits, and fleet automation. Same pattern, larger blast radius, more discipline required. Do this safely on your own workstation or a test virtual machine. Create a folder like CAdmin Tools. Save the Get-ComputerAudit function in CAdmin Tools, Functions PS1. In a new PowerShell 7 session, load it with .path .CAdmin Tools Functions PS1. Run Get-ComputerAudit with no parameters. Then try Get-ComputerAudit pipe select object ComputerName, last boot, FreeGB. Finally, export CSV path CAdmin Tools audit.csv, no type information. Everything is read-only. If you want it every session, add the .source line to $profile.current-user-all-hosts, then restart PowerShell. 3 beats to keep. First, name your functions like real commandlets, approved verb, clear noun, no mystery abbreviations. Second, make parameters the front door and objects the output. If your tool pipes cleanly, it will survive contact with real administration. Third, keep a small function library and load it with your profile or .source it when needed. That is how one-off commands become consistent operations. This was the foundation's capstone for PowerShell functions. Tomorrow we keep building the admin muscle, one production-safe step at a time, with a new PowerShell and Windows Administration episode daily on this channel.